the American business. That's something that's been around since actually before America became its own country. And this is what I want to talk about. Protecting the business. In wrestling, I was listening to Al Snow and his teachings, and he talked about Kayfabe, and Kayfabe basically is protecting the business. You go in the ring, and you have to believe what you do to get what you do over to the fans, so the fans believe what you do. So when they believe what you do, then they come back for more, because what you do excites the fans. It gets them riled up. So the bad guy has to be the bad guy. The good guy has to be the good guy, and there are rules for each in the ring. Now, that brings me to America. What's the kayfabe about America? Well, you have to protect the business. Originally, the biggest commodity was slave owning. And then when you own slaves, what do? You sell them to slave owners. You sell them at certain prices. Do they come as a family? Basically their cattle, their horses, their equipment. And people, human beings, don't like to be seen as equipment. Well, unless you're into some kind of fetish of that sort. But in general, in a general scope, no one likes to be thought of as a tool to be used for someone else's gain while they suffer. So the idea is you sell your tools to the highest bidder. When slavery was in the midst of ending, that's when the fear mongering came up. If you don't have slaves, if they are free, if they can do whatever they want, then that means they have the ability to do what? What was the fear mongering? The black African or African descendants have the ability to mate with your woman. That was the fear mongering. The slaves could breed with your woman and you would get a something. You'd not get a human being, because that would humanize a human being. So you have to humanize things to help it. That's why I do what I do and say what I say. To LGBTQA, they're humans. Give them the same thing any other human has. Now, going on with this protect the business, as slavery ended and the fear mongering and the KKK and anything that could come up was to discredit them as a human being, to destroy them as an individual, to ensure their individuality as a sentient being was crushed at every single moment of their passing waking days. Now, as slavery ended, and then we moved on into what? Civil rights. Civilization. Civil being of decent, sound mind, and rights. Things that anyone should have. So, hey, treat them equal, treat them well. They're African Americans. They put in their dues. They've done everything and they've been oppressed. Whatever sympathies, whatever victimization, whatever truths, use it to say, hey, let us all be together. We could all sip tea, drink beer, have apple pie, go to ball games, see our kids grow up and play and have a great, honest, open, and equal America. But to protect the business, you can't have that. There were a lot of hateful people that happened to be white that did not want blacks to be equal. With that said, you get leaders that form up. You got Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. You had Bernie Sanders. You had subdivision group leaders, they just unwitting, like Rosa Parks and such. You have all these people that come up to say, let's be decent. And you got those that say no. So in time, what happened? African Americans got the ability to be more or less equal. I mean, lawfully, yes. Socially, no. Lawfully, it was you can do whatever you want. You are equal. You can get a job. You can do all this other stuff. Socially, economically, everything was put in place to make sure there were loopholes and whatnot, and gerrymandering politically in living areas so that blacks could not live near or around whites best that they could. They lived in their ghettos, what originally was to the Jewish communities. The Jewish people had the ghettos. They were in poverty. They were in the public housing. They were in the real messed up areas until people realized, white people, I'm going to have to say other white people, because Jews are usually, Jewish people are white people. So they found out these guys are great at math. They forced the Jews into being bankers, accountants and whatnot. And that's why now you got the other protecting the business, the hate for the Jews are running the country. The Jews control the media. The Jews this, the Jews that. You did it. You don't like the black people being, so great at sports and naturally strong, but you did that. The hateful ones, the hateful white people out there. Not all white people, no, just the hateful. And later, let's say much later, we got Reagan coming in because we want to skip China. We want to skip Russia, the Red Scare and all this other stuff. The communism, the Nazis, ironically. But what I want to also talk about protecting the business of America. When Reagan came in, it was ushering another business model into America. Protect the wealthy. Make sure they pay as little as taxes as possible. That's the whole point. The wealthy, the donors, they get the money. Everyone else get nothing. That's the idea. So if all of us could work for free and they rake in all the money and all the profits, they get to live high off of us, not the land, then they've succeeded. And that is their true goal. That is their victory. In the 1980s, after Reagan became in office and he pulled a Bill Clinton, he made the model for Clinton because he got a lot of black people to support him. What happened? What started? There was already a little bit in this country. But what really got started during the 1984 and up? The hatred of Mexicans. They're taking your jobs. They're going to mate with your women. They are illegal. They come from their crap country into our great country. So you've done everything to marginalize them. You've done everything to bolster those of your own country, as you say, your own country. And now you got everyone hating the Mexicans. They took the job. They took our job. That's what you hear. They took our job. So you hear that quite honestly, often. You hear it. You hear it today. You hear it over 30 years later. You hear it today. The Mexicans are the problem. Hate the Mexicans. You have to protect the business of America. After Reagan, every politician to head in any form of office has been doing so for the sake of the money. Things started to level off at about 1994, 95. There was that whole Kuwait excursion, send the troops there. It's going to be a massive war over the oil, but they gave up so quick it didn't make any sense. U.S. didn't know what to do because there was a long-term war planned, but since it didn't happen, you just got to go home because there was nothing to fight. And Clinton comes into office. When Clinton comes in, what happens? NAFTA. Now, he got the black vote. He got the black vote, didn't Clinton? Yeah, Bill got that black vote. And what did Bill Clinton do with the black vote? He incarcerated black people. You know what happened when he was incarcerating black people? The donors gave to him. He got millions, almost billions of dollars. Oh, were they almost poor? Were they almost broke in the poorhouse? Oh, yeah. Politically, not truthfully. Politically, they were almost put in public housing, what they would call actual lower middle class of America. And that scared the hell out of them. But when you can get the black vote while calling them super predators and while incarcerating them, I mean, hey, Stockholm Syndrome, Pavlov's Law, hey, whatever it is, black people were doing it and they voted for Bill again. He did good. He jacked the lower communities up. He helped get money for the wealthy. He shipped jobs overseas. Everyone here lost jobs. But to protect the business, what do you have to do? You blame the Mexicans. Because everybody hates the Mexicans, right? I mean, they're Mexicans. Why hate them for anything else? I mean, just being Mexicans enough. I'm sure you could talk about how great carpenters they are. You can talk about how they are very family oriented. You can talk about how they take care of their own best that they can. They use their own banking system and they produce so much wealth for the United States. But, oh no, let's not talk about that. They just come and take our jobs, the jobs that we elect our officials to send overseas away from us, while they say to us, blame the other. So no matter if the Mexican was born here, so that would make them American, you're Mexican. You look Latina, you look like a Latino, you're Mexican. That's it. Are you Puerto Rican? You're Mexican. No matter. If you look it, you are it. And I know some might say that, hey, Sedrik, you sound like some dumbass racist thing. But you want to know the truth, the way it is, if you've got 8% black in you, you are considered black. You are not white. That's the truth. That's how it was, and it was used to ostracize people back in the 50s and 60s. Now, you have to protect the business, right? So how does that relate to today? I mean, let's talk about today. So today, what do we have? What we have here is something called Trumpism. Now, Trump, he knew what he was doing. He don't care about the blacks. He's a known racist. It's all of that. He also talks about hating the Mexicans. He galvanized everyone around 9/11. I mean, 9/11. Remember 9/11, September 11, 2001. Remember that day the trade centers came down and Bush was reading that book upside down to the children, looked up from it for a second, and he just kind of looked at the crowd and paused. He looked like he got caught in a cookie jar. And he lowers his head and keep reading. And I remember that. And, hey, I got a 9/11 story. It's real short, but I don't know. I might tell that later. It's my personal views on it. You know what? Screw it. I could just tell it now. When I was 9/11 happened, I was in working at IBM, and dude comes to me that delivers packages. Hey, towers fell. We've been attacked. And I'm like, oh, really? I look at the TV screen. I see it. Yeah, they're on fire and they're falling. I'm thinking, is that shit real? And the tower falls. I'm like, whoa. Then a plane slams into the other one. Whoa. And I'm just looking. And I'm looking. I'm not sure if it's in that order. It's just a partial memory. It's been quite some time. And I just remember people are going to freak out over this. Now, I hope those people get out that building. I really thought that everyone would have gotten out the building. I mean, it got hit. Anyone, I would say 3 floors below where it got hit, okay, they might not get out. But you know what? It sucks that they lost their lives. It sucks that so many families were devastated that day. But I'm going to tell you this, and it can't be denied. That day reinvigorated something that started under Truman's legacy. Okay? And that was a Trans-Arabian pipeline. The war in the Middle East, we finally got it. The Muslims finally attacked. Not a small group of the Middle East. No, every Muslim out there, every Arabian person, every Middle Eastern out there attacked the United States. We'll never forget. We'll never forget. But we never think. Thinking isn't something that we don't like to do, because if we do, then, oh, hell, we have to challenge ourselves. Then we've challenged other people. Then we have to challenge our government. So if you think, you get to challenge stuff, but if you don't think, you get to just recite your hatred, your bigotry, your bullshit, and do it ad nauseum without ever questioning, what the fuck am I hating and why am I hating it? What legitimate reason do I have to hate it? And that's how you protect the business. You find the dumbest people out there. You tell them what they need to hear to incite the foolishness in them, and they will protect you beyond the shadow of a doubt. I mean, they will protect, for right now, Trump is so protected. You've got white guys driving through and running over white people, hoping to kill some libtards. Oh man, they call us a libtard. You know something? That's such an insult. I've changed my mind. I'll be a Republican because that libtard is such an insult and it destroys everything. I just want all of you to know, just think about it. Liberal means free thinking, libertarian, free will, free thinking. So if you're against a libertarian, if you're against a liberal, you're against free thinking and helping your fellow neighbor, your fellow man. So you're also against being helped. Keep that in mind. You're against it. So in protecting the business right now, Trump, he's done it. We hate the Muslims. We hate Sikhs because Sikhs look like Muslims, although they are completely different. We don't like Asians. They can't get a house, it seems. It's weird. We don't like black people. We don't like black people because, we don't, and look, if you're not black, if you're not Mexican, if you're not Muslim, if you're not Asian, okay, and look, you just can't really hate your own blindly. So you have to give that label. They're liberals. So you have to hate the liberals without thinking about what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? You want to hate so bad. You're not thinking about how bad you're messing up. They want to protect the business. That's their business. The business is the United States. That's why Trump is elected. None of the big donors wanted Trump at first. You know why they didn't want him? Because he said, I don't need you. I don't want you. I've got my own money. And everyone out there was like, yes, he's got his own money. He's not on the take. And as soon as things went a little south, he started begging the Sudan. He started begging the Koch brothers. He started begging our rivals for money. He even asked you all for money. So to protect the business, you have to get people to blindly be loyal to you. So everyone out there who's hating, who's pissed off, who don't like the other, who doesn't like their neighbor just because their neighbor isn't them, you've fallen for it. In pro wrestling, there's a term. It's called being a mark. And I thought it had a bad connotation. No, being a mark is simply when you go into carnivals and you got money and the people at the ticket booth can see it. They will do a certain high sign of some kind or give a signal off to the people down there at the games area and stuff. They might throw some powder up or they might do some kind of signal that lets everyone at the gaming area, the vendors there, look way at the ticket person and say, that person there got money, so we're going to do everything we can and say what we got to say to get that person's money. That's the whole point. And they're marked. That person has been marked. They are not a mark. They have been marked. And all of you have been marked to protect the business of America. You don't just think about this. You know that Obamacare is bad. I know it's bad, but it's a hell of a lot better than what the Trump care would be. Obamacare was a very incremental step in the right direction. That's what Obamacare was. It was a very incremental step in the right direction. And the white people out there, they hated it at first, kicking and screaming, just like Social Security under FDR. Got to be taken kicking and screaming. What happens? Eventually, when you get it, you're like, wait, you can't take away my Social Security. I need that. Social Security. You can't take that from me. Then we get Obamacare. We don't want no Obamacare. We can't have Obamacare. We can't afford it. It costs too much. Okay. Obama's out. And now that Obama's out, these same people, now they want to listen. Well, you can't take away my affordable health care. You can't take away the Affordable Care Act. You can't take it away. You can't take away Obamacare. You can't take it away. If I misspoke an acronym or something, my bad. But in general, I'm talking about Obamacare. You can't take away Obamacare. You can't take it from me. I gotta have it. My family need it. I can insure my kids for longer. I can go get seen for my ailments. I can do all this. all of a sudden you care about Obamacare, but then you're going to call it by its proper name all of a sudden because you don't hate it. And then Trump comes in, hey, I told you I'm going to reform Obamacare. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to put something better in place. And when he gets in and you're like, yes, give it to us. Give it to us. Trump care. And Trump says, I'm going to take 30 million of you off your health care. And I'm going to make sure that the money that goes to that, okay, that would have gone will go to the big donors, the insurance companies and things like that. So if we can get you all sick and make sure you can't be taken care of, that allows the wealthy to have a tax break. They get to do these things. And if they have a tax break, then that means they get to keep more money. They get to keep more money. They get to make their business better. They get to outsource further. They get to build up in other countries. And that means they get more money. And if the wealthy in the United States get more money, then the United States has more money. Then we are a richer country. We are the richest country. We are the greatest country because our 10 to 1 and top 1 of 1% get to be even wealthier. While everybody else sick, suffering, underfoot, and currently underwater. Mass hurricanes. Now, while the hurricanes have come and gone and coming and going, you will be told they either don't exist or it's not as bad as you think. And no matter what happens to you, you're on your own. You'll get aid here and there. The water will evaporate in time. But the toxicity of the water, the sludge, the slime, the things like that, it will be left behind for a long time. And you will need health care because when you breathe in those fumes, those toxins, you will get sick. You can go into septic shock. You can get a lot of infections, bacterial infections. And with as much antibiotics that we take, things become resistant to our antibiotics. Antibiotics is supposed to temporarily boost your, it's like a steroid for your immune system. But if the germs, the viruses, the bacterium adjust to that, they become resistant to it, then that means you can't kill them. They only get stronger. You will die. So that's why moderation is key. That's why healthcare is key. That's why universal healthcare is key. That's why Medicare for all is key. That's why getting money out of politics is key. That's why wolf-pack.com is key. That's why Justice Democrats is key. That's why brand new Congress is key. That's why having a social program in the United States government is key. That's why doing everything you can for everyone in this country, just because they are a living, breathing person, is key to a better place. That's why we need what we need to get by. And what we need is for everyone to be better. Critical thinking. Get the pollution out of politics so we can get the pollution off of our streets and the pollution out of our minds. They are protecting their business, but they are not protecting the people. And I am saying this so that we can protect ourselves, even if it is from ourselves. With that said, good luck. And I hope that this reaches some of you. This is Sedrik Cannady for Comparative Reasoning. Thank you for listening.